When the rescuers first spotted her, they honestly didn't even know what they were looking at. She didn't look like a dog. She looked more like a giant, moving pile of dirty rugs. She was wandering all alone in the middle of a busy intersection, and it was a miracle she hadn't been hit by a car. She was so heavily matted that she could barely walk. Every step she took was a struggle because the heavy fur was pulling at her skin. A driver had seen this strange, massive shape in the road and stopped their car to help. Because she was so huge and terrifying to look at, they had to wave down a police car for backup. The poor thing wasn't aggressive at all. She was just scared, confused, and incredibly heavy. They actually had to lift her into a wagon just to move her off the road because her legs were too weak to carry the weight of her own coat. It was obvious that this poor girl had been suffering for a very long time. A dog doesn't get into this condition overnight. It takes months, maybe even years, of total neglect for fur to get that bad. It was heartbreaking to think about where she had been. Had she been chained up in a backyard and forgotten? Had she been hiding in the woods? No one knew. All the team knew was that she needed immediate help. They rushed her straight to the clinic for an emergency grooming session. But this wasn't going to be a normal haircut. This was a medical procedure. The groomers had to be incredibly careful. The mats were twisted so tight against her body that one wrong move with the clippers could slice her skin. The grooming took hours of slow, patient work. The team worked inch by inch, peeling away the heavy layers of filth. As they cut the fur away, they realized just how much weight she had been carrying. When they finally finished, they piled all the shaved fur onto a scale. Everyone in the room was shocked. The fur alone weighed 32.4 pounds. To put that in simple terms, that is the weight of a whole other medium-sized dog. Sprout had basically been walking around carrying another dog on her back every single day. No wonder she couldn't walk properly. It must have been such a relief to finally have that heavy burden taken off her shoulders. Underneath all that messy hair, they found a completely different dog. She wasn't a monster. She was a beautiful, but very thin, Tibetan Mastiff. She seemed lighter instantly, but she was still very confused. Even after the grooming, she stood there in the clinic whining and crying softly. She didn't understand that the bad part was over. She was a big girl, but inside, she felt like a scared baby. She needed time to learn that humans were actually good. The team moved her to a foster home with a woman named Elisa, hoping a quiet home environment would help her heal. At first, Sprout was very shy. In her foster home, she didn't have much of an appetite and didn't want to explore. She would just sniff around the yard cautiously and then find a safe spot to hide. She was also terrified of the stairs. She would stand at the bottom and look up, completely unsure of what to do. She preferred to be carried up and down like a puppy, even though she was a large dog. Her foster mom, Elisa, was amazing with her. She knew Sprout was feeling cold and naked without her heavy coat, so she went out and bought her some cute pajamas. Seeing this big mastiff wearing soft pajamas was the cutest thing ever. It kept her warm and seemed to make her feel safe. Elisa patiently taught her how to use the stairs, cheering her on with every step. Slowly, Sprout started to trust. A few days later, she went on her first real walk. It was wonderful to see her enjoying the fresh air without being weighed down by pain. She started to come out of her shell and show her real personality. It turned out that Sprout was actually a huge goofball. She started getting mischievous, which is always a good sign in a rescue dog. She developed a funny habit of stealing socks. Her foster mom would find her with a sock hiding under her head, looking innocent. Then, the zoom eyes started. Sprout would get bursts of energy and run around the yard as fast as she could. She was so clumsy and happy that she would sometimes trip over her own paws and fall over, but she would just get right back up. She loved playing in the backyard and going for long walks in the neighborhood. She was finally acting like a normal, happy dog. It was sweet to see her transformation, but eventually, it was time for the next step. Sprout was ready for her forever family. The rescue team wanted to make sure she went to the perfect home, preferably with people who understood her large breed. Luckily, the perfect family found her. They already had a mastiff named Wally, and they were looking for a best friend for him. It was a match made in heaven. Sprout met Wally, and they clicked immediately. Now, Sprout has a big brother to play with. It is so great to see them running around the yard together, wrestling and chasing each other. She is doing amazing in her new home. Her new family loves her, and Wally loves her. It is hard to believe that this happy, playful dog is the same animal that was found wandering the streets looking like a pile of old rugs. Sprout's story is a powerful reminder of resilience. She went from carrying 32 pounds of painful fur to wearing cozy pajamas and stealing socks. She bounced back from a terrible past and is now living the life she always deserved. It is one of the best transformations the team has ever seen. There are so many other dogs out there just like Sprout who are waiting for someone to save them. Sprout was lucky, and now she will never be neglected again. If you loved watching Sprout find her happiness, please give this video a big like. It helps us tell more stories just like hers.